Check, check. All right, we're out here in front of Philadelphia City Hall. Thank you for tuning in. I think we're coming up live on the other stations. 1 second. Come on. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, good. Yeah. I think we're coming up live in about a minute, so we're not on yet. Okay. Thanks. Great. Yeah, absolutely. Here, you want to take the microphone?
Oh, sure.
All right. I think we're slowly coming up live now. Can you just say where we are and what the event is in about a couple seconds?
Sure. Thank you. You want to speak or you can say? Okay.
All right. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Noah Forer.
And I'm Charlotte Meter.
And we're in front of City Hall, and today we are protesting, and I'm here because I don't like that our nation is being willfully ignorant and ignoring the clearful signs that we need to take climate action, and I think we need to be stewards of the environment and do everything we can to protect our planet and preserve the nature that's around us, not destroy it, because ultimately there's not going to be a planet for us to live on if we don't take action now.
And I'm also here for those reasons, and I'm tired of seeing the people in power focused on profit and exploitation when we should be focused on making sure that we have a future and making sure that everyone has access to amenities like the environment, like healthcare, like just basic safety.
What kind of themes would you say connect like Philadelphia and Atlanta? They're different cities, but are they similar?
I mean, I think one of the results of climate change right now is that we're experiencing a lot of food desert areas, and what people don't think about very often, but what I think is really interesting, is that Philadelphia is a city, but it in itself is also a food desert. We're surrounded by people that just don't have access to healthy food and water, and I think, part of having a city that's thriving is having the resources around it, being able to support it, like the Schuylkill River. I mean, we're just completely polluting it. I think we need to focus on helping that or installing rain gardens around the city.
Cool. I started a little too early. Can you just reintroduce why you're here and what's going on and what your names are, what you want to be addressed as? Thank you.
Yeah, hi. My name is Noah Forer. I'm a high school student. I live in the suburbs. I just caught the train over. And we're in front of City Hall, and today we're protesting. I mean, I'm here to mainly focus on climate change as a whole, but I mean, businesses and companies are prioritizing their profit and economical growth and deforesting important forests for their profit when we should be trying to restore the environment.
And hi, I'm Charlotte Meter. I go to a university in Philadelphia, and I'm also here to support action against climate change and against all the wrongdoings that the people in power are doing in name of profit and exploitation.
Can you name some of the groups or who came together for this event?
So we're a part of Fridays for Future Philly. Fridays for Future is a youth-led global climate action movement. There's also XR Philly, there's Save the Meadows. I know Fossil Free Penn is also here. Yeah.
All right, anything else you want to say, or where people can go for more info, anything like that?
I mean, I don't know how helpful this is. I'm just a high school student, but I think using your voice very much does have a power, and every individual can make a difference, and it just takes one brave person to speak up and start making action for others to follow them. We're holding a global, next Friday, March 3rd, is a global climate strike day, and youth around the world are going to be protesting and demanding climate action from the government. We're going to be leading a protest here in Center City. We're meeting at Love Park at 1 p.m. We would love everyone to come. So for more info, you can go to Fridays for Future, March 3rd, and they have a map with all the actions. But yeah, stand up for what you believe in and act.
Great. Thanks so much. Anything else you wanted to add?
I think that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. All right, thanks. Thanks a lot. All right, so we're out here in front of the west side of Philadelphia City Hall right now. I believe there's going to be a march later. So this is, like they said, a number of different environmental groups, local people. That one of those is a high school student. So a number of different people out here. It's pretty nice out. It's about a little after noon. It's like in the high 40s right now. Did you want to talk about why you're here today? Okay, great.
Yeah, I'm here because I really care about the environment and about the global climate change. What's happening? We're moving way too slow, and it's going to be really really difficult. And this demonstration in particular is about as I understand it, about a police academy, a training facility where they're going to cut down this forest to build this academy where they train officers in urban warfare and things like that. We should be taking care of our cities, not considering them, not making them into battle zones. So it's all part of the whole the whole thing that's happening. That we're really we're destroying our environment, we're destroying our planet, we're making enemies out of our people, and so that's why I'm here today.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else? Is there anywhere you'd recommend for people to learn more about these things?
Oh, there's it's everywhere. I mean, the Extinction Rebellion has a website where there's a lot of information. I'm with Equate, the Earthquaker Action Team, and we're targeting Vanguard, which is a large investment firm that has actually dropped out of the net zero asset managers agreement, where financial managers are hoping to be more environmental in their investments, and Vanguard has dropped out of that, and it's particularly overtly refused to give any attention to the climate change, which is going to really be a real problem. We've had the warmest winter ever this winter, and it's going to get worse. And so I'm really, I'm really concerned about it, and that's why I'm here. And I'm glad that there are a bunch of other people here.
Yeah, more people have been filtering in. There's a few dozen folks here, and I like that hat, Earthquaker Action Team, EQAT. It's catchy.
Thank you.
And Vanguard is one of those huge holding companies that has hundreds of billions of dollars in assets, like kind of like BlackRock. They're just sort of like a massive block of power, really, in the system. Basically, would you say that?
And BlackRock has moved forward a little bit. BlackRock has at least made some moves toward, or some overtures anyway, toward being more environmentally caring. But but all the asset managers and all the financial institutions that are investing in fossil fuels know that they're looking at the short term, but the long term is that fossil fuels are going to be a real are going to be a problem investment-wise. They're going to really lose their value as climate change gets worse.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, so it looks like people are starting to get ready to move, I think. I'll see if anybody else want to talk about why you're here today, or your groups or anything? Anyone? Did you want to talk?
No, thanks.
Okay.
Talk about why we're here.
Try to have less airtime.
Well, we're trying to get the stream rolling, so.
Sure.
We're going to get started real soon.
Okay.
Yep, we're going to get started real soon. We're here because we have to stop this oppression, of course, and stop the ecocide that's happening, all for the sake of what? It's not an adequate, appropriate response to the popular uprising that happened after George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. It's just wrong, and it's compounded by tearing down forest, and we got to do something about it. So we're here to do it, and we're here to bring it to the power.
Is there anywhere else people can learn more? Any websites or anything?
Oh yeah, there's the Solidarity group, Save the Meadows, which is a local thing that's happening here. They have ties to the Atlanta forest. I don't know the website off the top of my head right now. I'm with XR Philly, and I'm in solidarity with this movement, as other XR and other organizations. There's 14 other organizations here, and then there's other organizations throughout the country that's doing things for this.
And we'll have a post on our website, unicornriot.ninja, which has, I wrote it up last night, has a link to XR Philly's website on there. So we've got links to the groups that are out here organizing today. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks. So it looks like they're starting to get ready to get going. So again, we're out here on the west side of Philly. Did you want to talk?
Yeah.
Great. Cool. So I've seen these, let's see if I can get it in the frame. I've seen these impressive bats. They're very cool. Could you mention where the bats came from? I've seen them at least 3 events now.
Caveat, I didn't show up with my own sign, so I was tall and I can handle the sign, so it was handed to me.
All right. You've been put on the bat duty.
Does that make me Batman?
Yeah, you're a bat operative. So what brings you out here today?
So Cop City is, when I was in the military, long time ago, we had a facility like that. We called it Combat Town. And it's literally where you learn like urban warfare.
What state was that in?
That was down in Virginia, down in Quantico. Municipal police do not need to be trained in urban warfare. This is not what municipal police are supposed to do and be trained for. And there's a mindset that goes with that. And
Let's get started!
we've got enough problems with the way police do policing now already, and now we're going to train them on the models of like the IDF. If you know anything about how Palestinians are corralled and controlled, that's not what we need here. We need to get away from that stuff. It puts people in danger.
Thank you so much. We have a post on our website about a new documentary called Riotsville, which covers a similar military thing. So it's on our website, Unicorn Riot. It's called just a review of a documentary called Riotsville. It was just published a couple of months ago.
I appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you very much. So they're getting started. I'm going to switch the mic over. We're here in on the west side of City Hall, downtown Philadelphia. Thank you for joining us. Climate March.
Furious about the murders of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. Their response is more violence. Their response is tearing down trees. That's not what we want. So that's why we're here. Thank you for coming. A little bit about the land. The area where the police foundation hopes to build their training compound is also on the site of old Atlanta prison farm. So the repression, obviously, it goes back a long ways, right? In the 19th century, colonialists took people from their homes and family, human trafficking, and forced these people to work as slaves for this land after it was taken from the Muskogee Creek people, who call the area the Wilani Forest. During Reconstruction, the land briefly operated as a dairy works. Afterwards, it was turned into a prison camp where prisoners were forced to till fields and rear animals in dehumanizing conditions. Some were even lynched. Paving this land over with new carceral infrastructure perpetuates a historical continuum of dispossession and abuse. We got to stop it.
Yeah.
No to Cop City.
No to Cop City!
No to Cop City.
No to Cop City!
The land upon which we gather is part of a traditional territory of Lenni Lenape called Lenape Hoping. We acknowledge the Lenni Lenape as the original people of this land and their continuing relationships with their territory. During the colonial era and the early federal period, many died from introduced diseases and others were forcibly removed as far as Wisconsin, Oklahoma, and Canada. Some also remain among the continuing historical tribal communities of the region, including the Lenni Lenape tribal nation. We also acknowledge that Philadelphia has a unique position as the nation's founding, and its successors are still responsible to uphold treaty rights of the land stolen and to correct the wrongdoings of policies that led to enslavement, massacre, and forced assimilation of indigenous people across the continent. And the effects of this colonial genocide legacy is yet to be addressed. And here we are again. Another instance of displacing people, displacing forests. For what? No Cop City! No Cop City! No Cop City!
No Cop City!
No Cop City!
Some logistical things so that we're all safe. Recognize that there's a lot of cameras here, video. If you don't want to be filmed, there's some masks here. For protection, there's masks here. Please take one. A lot of this is unknown by the people. There's flyers right here. Please take some and hand it out while we're marching. We got to spread the word. Resistance starts with education. Take a flyer. Some people you ought to know before we get started. The police liaison. Where are you? The police liaison. There he is. Cops come to you. Point them to Tom. We have marshals here that's going to make sure we're safe walking in the street. Raise your hand if you're a marshal. 1, 2, 3 in the back, 4 over here. Thank you, Marshal. Now we got a big banner, because we're going to be loud. We got a big banner. I need 4 people at least to hold this banner. Come forward and grab the banner if you want to be a banner holder. Come on. Don't be shy. We need some people to hold the banner. Thank you. Right here. Media liaison.
We need one more banner holder.
We need another banner holder. Come on. Be a banner holder. Where's the media liaison? Where's Caleb? Oh, there he is. Raise your hand. Your media liaison, right? Where's the media liaison? Someone wants to talk to you. Point them to Caleb right here. Oh, look at this banner, huh? Beautiful. We're going to get started with some speeches. And I'm going to start. Mira from Fossil Free Penn is going to come up and say a few words. Come on up, Mira.
Can y'all hear me?
Center City, Philadelphia.
Awesome. So hi, I'm Mira. I'm originally from Atlanta. Now I'm an organizer with Fossil Free Penn. About a year ago, I interviewed some friends and comrades from the Stop Cop City movement. And about a year ago, I thought that that was our lowest point. City council members had ignored a year of protest and community building in the South Atlanta forest. They ignored 17 hours of public comment, an overwhelming majority of it against Cop City, and they ignored a global movement for abolition when they started demolition on South Atlanta Forest. A year since those conversations, we've experienced unprecedented solidarity, but also unprecedented loss. Organizers spent months occupying the South Atlanta Forest, sharing the land's history and building community. Forest defenders held off some of the advances of bulldozers threatening the forest perimeter. But we also faced dozens of arrests, and we lost one of our own, a brave, loving indigenous organizer, Tortuguita. Shame! And if a year of fighting taught us anything, it's that nobody is going to help us but us. No government, no corporation, no university, no so-called non-profit police foundation. Nobody but this community right here. And the thousands more rallying for Atlanta this week across the world. Last semester, I was arrested by my university for peacefully protesting for climate justice. They slapped me and my friends with legal charges and disciplinary hearings and threats of probation. At home in Atlanta, the cops slapped organizers, my friends, my family, with hundreds of thousands of dollars in bail fees and drawn-out court processes. But we're still here, and we're together, and we're not going anywhere. I'd like to read you a quote from one of the incredible organizers I spoke with when I talked to them a year ago. They said, "In all movements of resistance, we need to be building what we hope to replace the systems of extraction with. Abolition is about creation as much as it is about letting go of and dismantling systems that don't serve us. Stop Cop City has always been a movement of creativity, inspiration, and love. Even though we've been beaten down and arrested and told no a million times by a million people, we're stronger, more creative, and more loving than ever." Thank you. Gonna hear some chants from Fridays for Future now.
So we're down here in Center City, Philadelphia, by City Hall. There's a number of different climate groups. People are marching against the Cop City development in Atlanta and the companies that are developing the project.
No Cop City anywhere!
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 Protect the forest everywhere!
Protect the forest everywhere!
Protect the forest everywhere!
Protect the forest everywhere!
All right, come on. Now we got Fridays for Future. No. Right? Are you going to speak now? No. Workers' Voice. Sorry, Workers' Voice. I'm sorry. Got my notes mixed up. Workers' Voice. Cooper's going to come up and speak.
Everybody hear me? Yeah. Okay. Greetings, comrades. I'll be speaking on behalf of Workers' Voice today. Cop City is a facility meant to train the police and the...
Closer to your mouth. No. Just hold it closer to your mouth.
Can you hear me now? All right. Cop City is meant to be a facility to train the police and the suppression of the domestic urban population. It is also being built upon the largest urban forests in the United States today. So it is a direct front to both democracy and the survival of the human species on this planet. Now, major corporations have funded Cop City, right? Major corporations such as Coca-Cola and UPS, and many others also fund the police all over the country. Additionally, and most disgustingly, in Norfolk Southern, the rail carrier directly responsible for the derailment in Ohio last week that has potentially poisoned tens of thousands of innocent people in Ohio, has also funded the Atlanta Police Foundation. The corporations fund the police in order to suppress the people, while they, at the same time, poison us. In addition, the Biden administration, while there was a majority Democratic Congress, had passed legislation in order to give the police billions of extra dollars all over the country. The capitalist class, those people who own property but don't do any work themselves, the Bezoses, the Musks, the Bloombergs, the Trumps of the world, know damn well that without the police, there'd be nothing to defend them from the people pissed off that they're being poisoned by them. Additionally, the Atlanta City Administration, majority people of color, is in league with the mostly white billionaires who fund and support Cop City. They have ignored the majority black working class of Atlanta. They've ignored the thousands of people protesting and standing against this project, and they've also ignored Torrent. The further up you go in a system of exploitation and environmental destruction, the more of yourself you have to sell in order to get there. We have to understand that it is in the nature of the institutions of capitalism and of capitalism itself to exploit working people and the environment. And it does not matter who the administration is, and it does not matter what the ethnic composition of the police is. Fundamentally, these institutions are oppressive institutions. We, working people, have to unite and dismantle these institutions and replace them with ones of our own that are more democratic and that care far more for the planet.
That's right.
Woo. One moment, please. In the merciless thirst for profits, people and animals are considered expendable, and trees and rivers are dug up and used as raw resources. There is no plan for planet Earth to be a home for future people to live in. Right? There's only the GDP numbers, that's all they care about. So we have to build institutions that actually care for the planet ourselves. Workers' Voice believes that that all the individual struggles against individual oppressions have to unite together so that we can build wider and wider circles of collective struggle. We stand in solidarity with the Atlanta Forest Defenders and all people resisting exploitation, environmental exploitation, and government repression today around the world. The Cop City in Atlanta is a perfect example of how modern governments prioritize the training of police in order to brutalize and oppress working-class people resisting the exploitation of their bodies and the natural world by capitalism. They will never put together policies that actually care for the ecology of the planet, and they will mutually push us to extinction in inter-imperialist conflict. The solution is a revolution in which working people unite and replace the institutions of capitalism with democratic workers' control. Thank you.
No Cop City anywhere!
No Cop City anywhere!
Protect the forest everywhere!
Protect the forest everywhere!
No Cop City anywhere!
No Cop City anywhere!
Protect the forest everywhere!
Protect the forest everywhere!
That's what we're here to do today. Our next speaker, our last one, is Cindy from XR Philly. Cindy's going to read a couple things.
So we're out here in Philadelphia right now. There's going to be a march in a little bit. There are people that are opposed to Cop City.
Police in Atlanta shot and killed Manuel Tortuguita Paez Terán. Police in Atlanta shot and killed Manuel Tortuguita Paez Terán on January 18th as they were... Can't hear me?
Check.
Okay. Police in Atlanta shot and killed Manuel Tortuguita Paez Terán on January 18th as they were defending the Huilani Forest from being destroyed in order to build Cop City, a massive facility for urban warfare training. This forest is a watershed adjacent to neighborhoods. This forest is a watershed adjacent to neighborhoods of primarily working-class black residents who overwhelmingly oppose the project. Cop City would perpetuate systemic police violence against black and brown communities, the horrific murder of Tyree Nichols being only the latest example, and destroy resilience to global warming through forest cover, even as we are facing a climate and ecological emergency. This struggle belongs to all of us. This is the climate struggle. Climate change and ecocide are happening to all of us. The destruction of the habitable earth happens through the destruction of individual places. There are no outside agitators on planet Earth. Each of us everywhere has a stake in the prevention of the destruction of a forest anywhere. The climate struggle and the struggle against police expansion are one and the same. It is the police who have been, are being, and will be used to enforce the capitalist ecocidal agenda, to suppress movements that are trying to change the world, and to kill people defending the conditions for life on this planet. It is more than just moral outrage at police killings that moves us to act in this moment. The concrete impact of Cop City would extend beyond Atlanta, threatening the movements that offer us any hope. With Cop City, the Atlanta Police Foundation is trying to build a training facility to update policing to repress the struggles of the coming decades. Struggles for ecological, economic, and racial justice. While it has been said that this is the first time in the U.S. that an environmental activist has been killed by the police, there is no way of knowing how many indigenous land defenders have died at their hands, simply because they haven't been counted. And thousands have been killed throughout the global south by hitmen, organized crime groups, and their own governments. There has been increasing criminalization of environmental protectors since the horrors of police brutality at Standing Rock. Since then, 20 states have enacted laws broadly defining domestic terrorism that have been used to target environmentalists and indigenous communities, with dozens more considering legislation restricting peaceful protests. The movement to defend the Atlanta forest has called for a week of solidarity actions from February 19th to 26th, which is why we are all here today. They have also called for a mass mobilization in Atlanta from March 4th to 11th. We urge everyone who can go to do so. In addition, a National Day of Action has just been announced for March 9th. We need to let the Atlanta Police Foundation, their donors like Norfolk Southern, the contractors, the financiers like Wells Fargo, and the insurers like AXA know that Cop City is doomed. We support the demands of the movement to defend the Atlanta forest, which are the resignation of Atlanta Mayor Dickens, an independent investigation into Tortuguita's death, all charges against forest defenders be dropped, an immediate end to the construction of Cop City. Stop Cop City!
Stop Cop City!
No Cop City anywhere!
No Cop City anywhere!
Defend the forest everywhere!
Defend the forest everywhere!
All right! All right! All right! We're gonna get started. We're gonna have the banner lined up on the other side of each.
We need one more banner.
We need one more banner holder. Let's see. Need a banner holder.
So we're here in Center City, Philadelphia right now. There's a bit of a march about to start against the Cop City development in Atlanta.
I agree. I can step in.
So we've been hearing from
Anyone want to be
Workers'
cutting
Voice, Extinction Rebellion.
I'm going to carry this away anyway. Yeah? Yeah. All right. Good team. You want to loop it behind my back?
Just the Fridays group again? Fridays for Future. That's what it is.
Okay, we're going to line up this banner on the other side of those great poles. If you can line up, thank you. If you can line up on the other side, on this side of the banner. So please, if you have the banner, go on the other side of the poles, and then line up behind the banner. The marshals are going to direct us safely to our route.
We completed the camera. Get ready to run here.
And now I'm going to pass the mic over to Fridays for Future. He's going to lead us in a few chants. But before I do, no Cop City anywhere!
No Cop City anywhere!
Protect the forest everywhere!
Protect the forest everywhere!
No Cop City anywhere!
No Cop City anywhere!
Protect the forest everywhere!
Protect the forest everywhere!
All right, let's line up. All right, we're fired up. Let's go.
Beyonce, can I get your picture with your Smart Garden friends? Man, right here. You want me to pick Bryce?
I think it up. Like this to me, maybe that's what
We're down by City Hall. Folks, anyone want to start the march now? You want to talk about why you're here today?
Oh, I'm not a good actor. I'm a follower. I'm not a good actor.
Cool, thank you.
Has got to go.
Hey, hey! Whoa, whoa! Cop City's got to go!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Cop City is going to go.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Cop City has got to go!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Cop City has got to go.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Cop City's got to go!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Cop City is going to go.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Cop City's going to go!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Marshall Fields has got to go.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Climate change has got to go.
Hey, ho, ho! Climate change has got to go!
I could be wrong, but I swear.
Hey, ho, ho! Climate change has got to go!
Keep talking about it. No more coal, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil.
Oil, keep your carbon in the soil. No more coal, no more oil. Gas too.
I don't feel very eloquent as a way.
Well, it doesn't have to be a super detailed account.
Let me think for a few.
Okay, thank you.
Stand up like that when the land.
When the land is up,
You can spot me.
what do we do?
Stand up like that.
When the air we breathe.
So we're down here in Center City, Philadelphia. 2 dozen folks out here.
What do we do?
Stand up like that.
To apply anyway, even if I don't have a license, because she's never seen any of
Do you want to tell me
Stand up like that.
driving anyway.
Yeah, sure.
We're live right now on Unicorn Riot.
Okay.
What brings you down?
I mean, I work with kids that are getting policed, and it's just there's no. I'm like losing my mind. But yeah, there's just no life with like policing. Like it just doesn't. It squelches out life like time and time again.
So projects like this lead to like over policing of young people and that type of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said his
Can
neighbor
you,
has a son who does that.
what
And he turned out he was the
local
guy that I
issues
was
is
that I met
maybe
at the
connect
table.
this with? What kind of things?
So I got his number.
I'm also an artist, and I was able to make some art in the FDR Meadows, and it seems like a clear connection that they're trying to destroy the meadows, and they're not building like a cop city necessarily, but it is a control of the wild spaces that are so vital for communities to thrive.
Yeah, it's like removal of natural spaces.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you want to add, or somewhere people can learn more?
I think following Save the Meadows here locally, and
plenty more people that I have to call.
yeah, and just
email.
I guess I just learned maybe just off of Twitter. I'd love to confirm if like the company who was derailed in Ohio is connected to is backing the cop city in Atlanta.
Yeah,
and just finding more connections.
Right. And we've heard people talking about that. I've seen some material. I haven't seen quite enough documentation
To
yet
confirm that.
to totally confirm it yet, but we do have a report on our website about the derailment in Ohio, and we've been in touch with some people affected by it and stuff like that, so that is something we've been covering. And so I think once we have it nailed down, I think we'll definitely touch on that more. Right.
Cool.
But it wouldn't be a surprise. Norfolk Southern puts a lot of money into a lot of different parties.
Yeah.
They spread a lot of money around. So anyway, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Anything else you want to add?
That's all.
Cool. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So we are out here on the streets going around. A few dozen folks are going around City Hall area, Center City, Philadelphia right now.
Can I throw out an idea? Oh no, just that pointing forward.
It's always funny.
Folks in the back who can do the chanting can't hear you.
I was live streaming at the Temple March last week. Those college students marched faster than anybody last week. Did you want to talk about why you're here today? Can you talk about the insurance thing on those flyers? Great.
Wait.
Okay. Cool. Let's see, we got. So that's the workers' voice banner.
Climate change is not a lie. Do not let our planet die. Climate change is not a lie. Do not let our planet die. Climate change is not a lie. Do not let our planet die. Do not let our planet die.
Do you want to talk about why you're here today?
Oh wait. Hey, it's getting hot in here. There's too much carbon in the atmosphere. Hey, it's getting hot in here. Too much carbon in the atmosphere. Hey, it's getting hot in here. There's too much carbon in the atmosphere. Hey, it's getting hot in here. There's too much carbon in the atmosphere. Thank you.
So we're here on the south side of City Hall, Center City, Philadelphia. Crossing Broad Street right now. A few dozen folks. A little bit after noon on Friday.
Think about your legacy. Fossil fuels or fossil free. Think about your legacy. Think about your legacy. Fossil fuel or fossil free. Think about your legacy. Fossil fuel or fossil free. Think about your legacy. Fossil fuel or fossil free.
Yeah, there's just some wind. It's not. Also, very disturbing is that the forest defenders have been charged under Georgia's Domestic Terrorism Act.
This is what we talked about?
Yeah,
Live right
a
now.
little bit.
A
Yeah,
little
same.
bit? Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, good. So yeah.
Invite local peeps.
When the land we love is under attack, what do we do? When the air we breathe is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When the water we drink is under attack, attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When the air we breathe is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When the water we drink is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When the land we love is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When the air we breathe is under attack, what do we do?
Yeah, I've been hearing about Cop City down in Atlanta, and I think it's atrocious. I think it's disgusting. I think, but I think it's people got to organize and have something to say about it. So.
Cool. Hey, hey!
Local struggles,
fossil fuels have got to go! Hey, hey!
Similar things that you're hearing about.
Yeah, I think one thing in Philadelphia is we need to protect the community gardens around the city. I think it's a place where people and communities can use land to bring people together. So something we gotta keep and protect for sure.
Is there anything else you want to add?
System change, not climate change.
No, I think I'm good.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you so much. Cool.
Now. System change, not climate change. Climate justice now. System change, not climate change. Climate justice now. System change, not climate change. Climate justice now. Climate justice now. Climate change is not a lie. Do not let our planet die. Climate change is not a lie. Do not let our planet die.
You want to talk about why you're here today? You're live.
Well, I am here in solidarity with the movement to defend the Atlanta forests from the project Cop City, which is a worrying step in the development of the police state in America. They are, yeah, I mean, I assume most people watching this know what Cop City is, so maybe I won't go into the detail, but I guess personally I'm here because I am deeply concerned for our shared future, both when it comes to the, just everything we are doing to the earth and everything that we are doing to invest, a class of murderers for hire for the capitalists.
Sure. Anything else you want to add, or other struggles that you would link this to, other themes?
I mean, the struggle against the police, every struggle everywhere is a struggle against the police. If you're a labor organizer, you fight the police. If you fight for racial justice, you fight against the police. If you fight for women's rights, you fight against the police. It all comes back to the fucking cops. We have to do everything that we can to prevent the development of, we've seen nothing yet when it comes to totalitarianism. And the development of Cop City is a very, very worrying acceleration of that process.
Cool. Anything else you want to add?
No.
Cool, thank you so much.
Hey,
I really
no problem.
appreciate it. That's great.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah.
Other people speaking about the issues here today.
We're gonna do a call and response.
We're in Center
I'm
City,
gonna
Philadelphia.
say the earth is on fire, and you guys are gonna say, put the fire out. All right? The earth is on fire. Put the fire out. The earth is on fire. Put the fire out. The earth is on fire. Put the fire out.
I'm gonna reconfigure my camera.
Put the fire out. The earth is on fire. The earth is on fire. Put the fire out. The earth is on fire. Put the fire out. Hey, hey, ho, ho, climate action now. Yeah? Okay. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Climate action now.
One second, everybody. Put it back to me. Okay, there we go. So we're here in Center City, a number of different groups. Extinction Rebellion, Fridays for Future. People that have criticized the FTR, Meadows development,
I've been reporting on our website about FDR Meadows. A lot of reporting on our website about the Atlanta forest, about Cop City. We have a mini documentary. We'll have a landing page on our website shortly. Just kind of help run through all our different coverage. Oh.
Stop Cop City!
Cop City!
Stop Cop City!
Stop Cop City!
Stop Cop City! Stop Cop City! Stop Cop City!
Hi, I'm an environmental activist, and the most ridiculous thing I can think of is cutting down a forest to build this kind of facility. I mean, whatever they think they need, I think the use is questionable, and there's plenty of abandoned shopping malls and strip malls around the country. To be taking down forests to do this kind of project is beyond ridiculous, and that's why I'm out here today.
It seems like the police kind of wanted to bolster their prestige after the 2020 uprisings. Do you think that some of this was a reaction to all the civil unrest that happened that year?
I don't know. I can't read what other people's motivations are, so I find it really kind of dicey to try to say, well, I think they are doing something because of this or that. I just know that this is a bad thing for them to be doing.
Cool. All right, is there any
Climate change is not a lie! Do not let our planet die! Climate change
what local strugglers would you say this is similar to or connecting it?
change is not a
Well,
lie! Do not let our planet die! Climate change
there's an issue with some meadows in South Philly that they're trying to protect, and we've in Delaware there's a development on what had been some natural areas in a place called Grassdale. So there are smaller things around here, but there's nothing of the magnitude, and not where they're going and taking out forests that have been there for, I don't know, I think 70, 80 years, something like that. So this is just a bad move all the way around. I mean, I don't care, you know, even people who are, quote, pro-police and whatever. This is just stupid. It's a bad move. Whoever got behind this and thought of this, just ridiculous optics to go and take out a forest to put up this kind of facility.
Cool. All right, is there anywhere that you suggest people can learn more about these things? Any websites or anything, groups?
Well, I think you can look at, I usually do stuff with Extinction Rebellion Delaware, so you can look up Extinction Rebellion Philly or Extinction Rebellion Delaware Facebook pages, and then you can get connected in.
Cool. Thank you so much. I really
Sure.
appreciate it. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Say it loud, say it clear. Cop City is not welcome here. Say it loud, say it clear. Cop City is not welcome here. Say it loud, say it clear. Cop City is not welcome here. Say it loud, say it clear. Cop City is not welcome here. Say it loud, say it clear. Cop City is not welcome here. Time is running out. We need climate action now. Time is running out. We need climate action now. Time is running out. We need climate action now. Time is running out. We need climate action now.
With the guy from the Parks Department next week, and I'm gonna ask him if he knows Tom as well.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I got his number from
Atlanta policeman who was injured, we know now, from skunk-friendly fire. Cops.
No Cop City anywhere. Protect forests everywhere. No Cop City anywhere. Protect forests everywhere. No Cop City anywhere. Protect the forests everywhere. No Cop City anywhere. Protect forests everywhere. No Cop City anywhere. Protect the forests everywhere. No Cop City anywhere. Protect the forests everywhere.
Do you want to talk about why you're here today?
Fuck Cop City, that's why.
Can you connect us to any other local issues that supposed to know about in the Philly area?
I feel like you should talk to people who are trying to save the meadows and FDR Park and stop the sheriff's sale.
It's a lot of violence around.
What's the sheriff's sale? Can you explain?
So the city, oh wow, okay. The city has been selling vacant land through the sheriff's sale without community input, and it's been happening over the past few years and is rapidly gentrifying black and brown neighborhoods throughout the city. And there's no community input on preventing these sheriff sales.
Interesting. We haven't heard about that on our streams yet. What groups are working on that? How can people learn more about that?
They can go to the Iglesias Gardens on Instagram. We've been resisting every month's sheriff's sale, talking to people who are being displaced, and that's a good place to get more involved. Iglesias Gardens on Facebook, Instagram, etc.
So it's like the county sheriffs, like the
city, yeah. So the sheriff's office is basically, they have an agreement with these attorneys to just give away month to month a lot of vacant land that'll probably be sold to developers mostly, who are going to build unaffordable housing in neighborhoods that people that live there are going to be displaced, basically.
Okay. Cool. Anything else you want to add about it right now?
No, that's good. Thanks for amplifying. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yes, it is. No.
So we are here, awkward angle, but we're here, Center City, Philadelphia. Folks are marching. We just learned about the sheriff's sale, liquidation of land locally.
They're workers too.
Stop Cop City! Stop Cop City! Stop Cop City!
Can't believe you have like
Save the meadows!
What? Save the meadows! So many items.
Do you know what they were talking about why you're here today and other local things that are happening?
Yeah, what's more important is I attended a synopsium at Penn about the University City townhomes, where some of the residents spoke, and then afterwards there was a press conference on the Drexel campus held by the members of the Drexel students group who had occupied the dean's office there for hours, and in fact, talk about occupying the dean's office.
Yeah, what happened at Drexel right here?
Oh, so Drexel students have been camping in their main building for the past, or they've been sleeping in their main building for the past 72 hours. This morning they held a press conference, and they're planning to stay there indefinitely until their school commits $10 million to preserve the UC townhomes, which is a long-standing low-income housing community in West Philadelphia or University City. Yeah.
So UC townhomes, they're basically being pushed out by a major developer. Is that the situation?
Yeah, so the UC Townhomes is a low-income housing complex that is federally subsidized low-income housing. So the United States government, through HUD, has been paying this private landowner to rent out these housing units for the past 40 years, but the contract expired, so now he gets to do whatever he wants with his land. So he's gonna sell the property for millions of dollars, and he's forcing 68 low-income black families to leave. So they've been fighting, the residents have been fighting to save their homes for over a year now.
I was surprised to learn, if it's correct, that developer or their dad or their family was able to get that land for like $1.
That's right. True? Yeah, his dad bought the plot of land for $1 from the city of Philadelphia in 1982.
1982.
If you want to hear something even more frightening, South Street, the entire area of Society Hill that used to be a part of the Underground Railroad, is a historically black area, and in the 80s, the black folk were pushed out of the city, and all of those properties were sold to like white developers for like $1. Now black people barely live in that area, so it's not uncommon. They did that to the rest of the Black Bottom as well.
So where can people learn more about these Philly issues? Where would you suggest they can tune into that?
Well, you should follow Save UC Townhomes, but also there's a blog spot or like a WordPress called theblackbottom.com, or just Google Philly Black Bottom. It'll pop up, and a bunch of community members made this entire archive of all of the gentrification that has happened all around Philadelphia. What Temple did, Temple displaced a large amount of people. I mean, Drexel, Jefferson, Penn, obviously, all of these universities are very complicit in the gentrification.
Anything else you want to add right now?
Yeah, just follow Save UC Townhomes on Instagram. Follow Drexel for Justice on Instagram.
And fuck Cop City. The police do not protect and serve the people. They protect and serve the owners of capital. And they are not here to protect us. They are here to protect the bottom line, which is profit. So do not think that they're your friends. They're not. They are not here to help you.
Excellent. Anything else you want to add?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Come on the sidewalk. We're going to have a little bit of a program here. We're going to have some speakers. But first I'm going to read a letter. So this is the address where AXA XL, the insurance company that is underwriting the project, is headquartered. And so there are some people that are trying to deliver a letter to them asking them not to underwrite the project because without insurance they can't build the project. Okay, so I'm going to read a letter. This letter was put together by, there's over 15 organizations that were involved in trying to get this action together. So on February 24th, Philadelphia community members representing more than 15 organizations marched on AXA's local office to voice our condemnation of the Cop City project in Atlanta. It's contracted to be built by Brassfield War, a construction firm insured by AXA LX. This event was an act of solidarity with the activists non-violently defending Atlanta's Walney Forest, which is actively threatened by the project. We call on AXA to stop insuring Brassfield Gore and the construction of Cop City for the following reason. The Cop City project would increase and intensify police violence in the United States. The proposed project would create an unprecedented 85-acre military-style training facility the size of a small town for police to practice and refine tactics akin to domestic warfare. Atlanta has the highest percentage of black residents of any major U.S. city, and the tactics practiced in Cop City would be used to further terrorize and brutalize black Atlanteans and other demographics that are vulnerable to police violence. One activist has already been killed by the police while protesting Cop City. We cannot, point two, we cannot afford more deforestation. The world is enmeshed in a climate and ecological crisis that's approaching critical tipping points, and nature-based solutions are one of our best lines of defense. The Walney Forest in Atlanta provides immense benefits for the local, national, and global ecosystems, including reducing greenhouse gas levels in the Earth's atmosphere, filtering pollutants from the air, lowering temperatures during periods of extreme heat, and creating habitat for wildlife species that are critical to the survival of human and non-human life. Point three, the Cop City project is undemocratic. The construction of this police complex has been overwhelmingly opposed by the residents of Atlanta. Even after 17 hours of public comment, largely speaking out against the project, the Atlanta City Council approved Cop City by a vote of 11-4. In addition, the City of Atlanta continues to prosecute nonviolent protesters on trumped-up charges of domestic terrorism, threatening all Americans' rights to peacefully assemble. The eyes of the world are on AXA. This week, activists in more than 38 cities around the globe have rallied in support of the demands of the Atlanta Forest Defenders. AXA has been identified as a primary enabler of the Cop City project, and the public and the media are paying close attention to what the company will do next. We ask AXA to risk its reputation by continuing to support police militarization, ecological destruction, and the killing of peaceful protesters? Or will it withdraw from the Cop City project? We call on AXA to do the right thing. Drop Cop City and protect the people and our planet.
Drop Cop City!
Drop Cop City! Drop Cop City!
Okay.
Drop Cop City!
Now, sorry about that. So now we're going to have some speakers. I know James Ray couldn't make it. Is there someone from his organization here?
Dr. Seuss?
Dr. Zeus is coming up. So we're going to have some speakers and then a sort of slight, with apologies to Dr. Zeus, we're going to have a little bit of an interpretive reading of the Lorax, you know, with Walani Forest in mind. Okay. So next, I had on the list, if James isn't here, is Noah here? Okay, Noah, do you want to come up? Okay, great. Go for it.
Hi guys, I'm Noah. I'm 17 years old and I'm a senior at Lower Marion High School. I'm here today to kind of talk about a more uplifting story of, I think, a successful activism story regarding trying to save a forest. You can hear? Okay. So, I live in Lower Marion School District, and my school district just finished building a $90 million middle school because they want to look fancy and provide a new middle school. And with that, 3 years ago, my school district spent $9 million buying a 13.4 acre wide forest. No one in my school district know about it, and plans to demolish it are supposed to start this May. There's been some people protesting it around my community for about a few years now, and some lawyers were trying to get involved and prevent this from happening, but ultimately they did nothing. Last May, some sweet people reached out to me and asked me to get involved. I didn't know much about it, but I started doing a little more research and I wanted to get involved in the action. This year, because I'm a student at school, they asked me to speak at one of the board meetings, and then I started doing a little more research and found out what it really was and the history behind it. The land that they bought was Lenape tribe land, and the 13.4 acres hold over 400 trees, 114 of which are heritage trees. Some of these trees have been standing longer than this country has been standing. Woo! And when I did a little more research, I got to find out that this forest holds a story of resilience and innovation. The land was originally owned by the Bodine family, and in the 1900s, right before the First World War started, they decided to have a greenhouse built by Frank Miles Day, a famous architect. Now, when our country faced the war, they decided to turn this greenhouse into a horticultural gardening program. So women around the world, around the country, came together to grow crops and fed my entire community. The community that wouldn't be able to thrive if it weren't for these women in this forest. And what does my school district want to do? They want to demolish it to build baseball and softball fields for middle schoolers. So I went to that board meeting back in October and I spoke. I was the first student to ever speak up about the issue because I was one of the first students to know about the issue. They were building this fields for us, yet none of us knew about it. So I decided right then and there, and I told these board members that I was going to inform all the students and prevent this from happening. A month later, I returned to that boardroom with a record-breaking number of students to ever speak at a board meeting before. Since then, we came back with a proposal. We named it the Acorns Proposal, where we use the land and use it for hands-on interactive learning. We want to use it to build a sustainable education center where kids can play sports while simultaneously benefiting their education and restoring the historic and ecological value of this forest. Woo! Did they listen? Did they reach out? No. So what did we do? We kept fighting. I've been working with my environmental club and reaching out to other schools. I've been in contact with researchers from Villanova and Penn, and we've only outreached more. We decided to speak to the middle schoolers, and the one middle schooler that I was able to get in contact with had no idea that this was even happening. They didn't even know what Oakwell was. None of these students know what Oakwell is. That brings us to now. Some of the adults that we have been working with were able to, they heard back from the state, and Oakwell is now able to be registered under the historic preservation. And I don't want to mess up the logistical words of this, so I'm going to pull out my phone and read it specifically. Sorry, one moment. Basically, what this means is that all intact and historic structures that were originally part of Oakwell are now recognized by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania as worthy of preservation and may be submitted to National Register. Property owners that receive federal funding and wish to alter either the structures on these properties or the landscape are required to consult with the Pennsylvania state. Now, I know this is only local action, but a group of students came together and we have been able to make a bigger impact than lawyers were able to make in 3 years. This was the first time I've ever tried to make a movement in the town. But this Monday, I missed the end of my school day because I sat down in the administration building at the table with the board members. They decided to finally meet with us, and they decided to compromise with us. So as of now, their most updated public release statement is that they are no longer going to be building the baseball and softball fields on Oakwell. They still want to build the 2 other combined sports fields, and they also want to build an education center that we will be running. But this isn't enough. So we're gonna keep fighting, and we're gonna make sure that they won't build any of the fields. And now that the state decided that it's protected under National Register, so if they want to build these fields, then they're gonna have to get the state's permission, which they won't get because it's a historic landmark. And I guess where I'm trying to go with this story is that I know it's hard, and unfortunately what's going on in Cop City is terrible, but we should not feel discouraged because, I mean, it is still able to make change, and every voice matters, and things are still positively turning. My school district is now also trying to get more student voice in our school district, and I'm going to be working with them to hopefully get a student advisory committee so that we are able to make the decisions for our future, and so that they are not making decisions on our behalf without our permission. Thank you. That's it.
No, thank you very much. So I don't know where we had some people go in, and they were dressed in business suits and all nice looking. So we had some people go in, all dressed in business suits and nice looking, to deliver our demand letter to AXA, and I think we're expecting them to. Oh, okay, they're not here yet. They're okay. So I'm up now. All right, now my question is, do I look evil right now? Yeah? But do you think I could look more evil? All right, so we're gonna do, I'm gonna do a little bit of a thing where I'm gonna try to make myself look a little more like an evil forest destroyer type. And while I'm doing that, we're gonna practice something a little bit. So there's gonna be a reading of the Lorax. The evil one is gonna be AXA, rather than the one slur, if you're familiar with the story. And the other thing is, okay, so here we go. Here's the guys who went in and presented the letter. Come on over here, everybody.
Okay.
Hey!
You're not wearing bracelets, so I guess it went okay.
Yes, I'm doing.
We're going to talk after, I think.
Yep.
So what I want to do is this. So there's going to be some points in the story where trees are getting cut down. So when that's happening, I'm going to go whack, 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 and say, who's cutting down the trees? And everyone yell, AXA is cutting down the trees, and point up to AXA. Now, of course, we're being a little bit of artistic license here, because they're just ensuring the cutting down of the trees. But they're enabling it, so we're gonna stick it to them. So every time I go whack, 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 who's cutting down the trees, yell AXA and point up, because they're on the 16th floor, so it's pretty far up there. All right, let's try it. Whack, whack, whack. Who's cutting down the trees? Okay, so let's try one more time. Whack, whack, whack. Who's cutting down the trees? Okay, good enough. Okay, so now, with some apologies to Dr. He's interpreting the Lord. At the farm, the wind smells a little sour when it blows. And no birds ever sing, excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax? And why was it here? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Axler still lives here.
So we talked to you a little bit before about some of these other struggles. Can you just give us an update on some various things going on around the city and sort of the local side of things?
The local side of things. Well, I mean, development is out of control. There are a lot of different struggles in Philadelphia now that are land-based, whether it's green spaces and public land, or whether it's affordable housing. The Chinatown community is now dealing with the 76ers want to build a stadium smack in the middle of a community. And clearly there would be a lot of displacement and many mom and pop businesses closing. So it really feels like there's so much money at play in the city. And Philadelphia is not a rich city, which I think is part of the problem, is that we've got politicians and government officials that just roll over at the slightest hint of money, and without any consideration for the people that live here, that pay their taxes, and for the cohesiveness of the community. And the struggle that I'm involved in most primarily is Save the Meadows, and that really has to do with, again, it's money that is motivating Parks and Recreation to create a sports complex over what is the largest urban woodland and meadows in South Philadelphia. And if you look at a satellite map, you'll see there's just no green space in South Philadelphia. With global warming, what we see down in Atlanta, it's happening here as well, whether it's Cobb's Creek, where hundreds of trees were felled to create a golf course, or if it's in South Philadelphia, or if it's in Atlanta. We have to stop the assault on nature and on our forests. You know,
can you explain the Cobb's Creek thing a little bit? I've seen a little bit about that, but I don't have a full rundown.
Sure. It's that one is just a mess. So basically, the city, Catherine Lavelle, who is the Parks Commissioner, came up with Curtis Johnson. What's his name? Councilman Curtis Jones and Catherine Lavelle basically were courted by the Cobb's Creek Foundation. This is the McGuire family. They're a billionaire family that does not live in Philadelphia proper, that have decided that they want to be on the PGA Tour, and they feel like bringing back a golf course that used to exist in the Cobb's Creek. This is a
check 1 2. Here you go.
Oh.
Thank you. Great.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So basically, Cobb's Creek is a 350-acre former golf course with very mature, old-growth trees. It also has creeks running through it. It's been closed for a long time, and this billionaire family somehow convinced Catherine Lavelle to roll over and offer the McGuire family a deal of having the Cobb's Creek for $1 to get a lease for 70 years, and it's 35 years plus renewals. And so first thing they did, without permits, they went in there and they clear-cut over 100 acres, many hundreds of mature trees, and without following due process. I think that this is the first indication that these are not going to be good neighbors for the primarily black and brown community surrounding the park. The last thing we need in 2022 are more golf courses. It's just more toxicity. I mean, to be blunt, it's a white man's game. It's just, we don't need it. What we do need is our tree canopy. What we do need in urban areas especially is access to unmanicured wild spaces. And so why did the city sign away this very valuable piece of real estate valued at dozens of millions of dollars, and I would argue a lot more just based on the natural resources involved? Why would they do that? Well, we've got a parks commissioner who feels that it is better to remove things off of her to-do list than come up with the money to maintain our park system. And I would argue that instead of giving it to a bunch of white billionaires who are going to do nothing for the city, they're not going to pay property taxes, they don't pay any sales tax, the city gets nothing and loses everything. Instead, why not give it for $1 to an environmental group that can steward the park? Already, neighbors had been working and tree tending in the park. So we see this assault against parks and green open spaces in Philadelphia happening all the time. It's the same at FDR, where, to come up with 20% of the park's budget, they're literally covering half of the FDR meadows in synthetic turf, or they would like to. We're fighting it, and I think we're going to be successful.
Well, where can people go to learn more about these various local issues?
Right. Thank you for asking. So, the two groups, the two locations I spoke about, it's Cobb's Creeks. It's Cobb's Creek EJ, Environmental Justice. They have a website. They have an Instagram, Cobb's Creek EJ. And then Save the Meadows is focused primarily on the FDR plan in South Philadelphia. And our website is savethemeadows.com and @SaveTheMeadows on Instagram.
Cool. Is there anything else you'd like to add right now, or sort of other issues?
Well, I think,
I'm
something.
trying to tie in more local issues.
Okay. Well, I think one thing, when I look at Atlanta, and I know that you asked for local, I'm talking about Atlanta, but when you look at what's going on at Atlanta, where the Atlanta Forest Defenders have been arrested and charged under Georgia's domestic terrorism law, I find that extremely troubling. I mean, these folks were basically trespassing and exercising their right to protest, and it's really a sham that they are being charged as domestic terrorists. And the reason I feel that this is connected to Philadelphia and the world at large is we're going to see an increase in environmental activism. It's all hands on deck. The planet is burning, and we've got government and the authorities that are so focused on their short-term profit. They don't care what happens 10 years from now, much less 50 years from now. And land is sacred, people's land is sacred, and so I'm very concerned that we're seeing a pattern of a demonization of environmental activists and very punitive measures, and Cop City is exactly part of that. And to connect it back to Philadelphia, aside from all the police I see around here, is what is the one budget item? Every year they ask for more money, police. And we see that across the country. In 2020, during the George Floyd protests here in Philadelphia, the military equipment that was on the street was out of control. I mean, I honestly was shocked. But we see this happening all across the U.S. So the notion that the police that are supposed to protect and serve us are in fact now defending, this building. It's corporate America. That is who they're defending.
Cool. Well, I really appreciate it. Anything else you want to add right now? This is very informative again, the wider picture, and the local elements.
Yeah, and I think we're out here. I don't know. Did you speak to that? That we're outside of AXA's offices, and AXA is the insurance company behind the Cop City project. And the Atlanta Forest Defenders have been, and Stop Cop City have been really very tactical, excellent strategy in recognizing that the money going into this project in Atlanta, the attempt to build the largest military training facility for police in the country, is being funded by corporations. And so they're going after the insurers. They're going after Wells Fargo and Bank of America and all these companies that are funding the Atlanta Police Foundation, a private entity that is behind Cop City. And obviously, if we get AXA, if we put enough pressure on AXA to drop this project, well, that's a great way to halt it, because even in the corporate world, you cannot operate without insurance.
Can you talk a little bit about that in general, how organizers can understand the different elements that go into destructive projects, and apart from this specific one, why that kind of thing matters?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always, like they say in the movies, follow the money. It's always follow the money. And so research, finding out who the funders are, who the investors are. I mean, let's be real. Capitalism, the biggest ill of capitalism is the stock market. The world functions in behest of the shareholders. And so doing research and understanding where the money is coming, so for us, who's funding these synthetic fields at FDR Park? Who are the McGuire family? It's exactly that kind of power mapping that gives you the power, because very often the people in front, they're just the shills. They're just going through their talking points. It's the money that is making them do what they do. So if the Cop City Foundation, if the Atlanta Police Foundation could not fund this project, it would not happen. And I think we should pay attention to the fact that who's funding them? It's banks, it's insurance companies, it's some hedge funds, and why is that? I think when you think of the rail accident that happened in Ohio just a couple weeks ago, some of the same figures that are heavily invested in that rail company in Southern are also funders of Cop City. So why are they all doing this? I think the reality is because they understand very well that they are raping and pillaging, and that the people are angry, and they're only going to get angrier, and so they need police protection. It's quite self-serving. Corporations do things for two reasons, either for personal gain or because they believe it's a good future investment. That's the only motivator.
Absolutely. is there anything else you'd want to add? I really appreciate the broad context.
Yeah, no problem. No, I'm just thrilled. You know, it's tough to get people to come out in the middle of the day on a Friday. Most of us, myself included, took the day off, but most of us have 9-to-5 jobs. So we really appreciate the folks that came out. We're also super excited that a bunch of different organizations got together. We've got EQUAT, we've got Workers' Voice, we've got Extinction Rebellion Philadelphia, we've got the Sunrise Movement, Save the Meadows, and we're going to do more and more of this because we understand that we are more powerful together, and that so many of these issues are connected, right? So power to the people. People over profit.
Thank you. That's super informative. Do you want to give your name?
My name's Abigail Milder.
Abigail Milner. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. All right, so we're at the tail end of a march. We're down here in Center City, Philadelphia right now, and so people are opposed to the Cop City project in Atlanta, the training facility there, as we run out of battery power, we're just going to keep on sort of streaming the talks. We'll just sort of run it as long as we can. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Chris, on the back end. You can support our work at unicornriot.ninja, and we're going to have a landing page up on our website. We've been covering the FDR Park, we've been covering FDR Park and the Meadows as well as Cop City very closely, so you can look at our website for more info about that. So we're going to follow this stuff. Thank you all for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
Protect the forest everywhere!
Protect forests everywhere!
Market Street.
Is that working? Yeah. All right, so I want to begin by sharing this quote. It's about living in a world on fire, and it's from this little book called Invisible Cities. The inferno of the living is not something that will be, it's already here. There are two ways to escape suffering it. The first is easy for many. Accept the inferno, become such a part of it that you can no longer see it. The second is risky and demands constant vigilance and care. Seek and learn to recognize who and what in the midst of inferno are not inferno, then make them endure, give them space. So that's the end of the quote. Together, we will have the Weelaunee Forest endure. We will fight for all people to have basic rights to housing, education, healthcare, and a clean, truly green and forested environment, free of plastics and other toxics. We're here for the fierce, enduring beauty of our comrade Tortuguita. We're here to save the meadows, and we're here because Cop City will never be built. Together, we recognize the blaze of infernos of today. Infernos of ecocide, of white supremacy, capitalism, and colonialism, of entire communities being policed, militarized, and dispossessed, sometimes out of existence. We're also here because the inferno that would be Cop City is not inevitable, nor is its violent, globe-spanning effects. We're here because another future is possible, and we're here breathing together today because we have no choice but to urge and demand that future into existence. As we assemble in solidarity with the Atlanta Forest Protectors, let's remember some painful particulars that connect our struggles. Like Atlanta, Philly bears a history of criminalized protest, menacing industrial development, redlining, and unbridled ecological destruction. That's right. Our cities are both on the list of proposed sites for the FIFA World Cup. Right? Yep. Boo. And, both cities exult in the death worlds of policing, property, and profit. In the face of glaring inequality, our electeds are content to invest in obscene police budgets, the annihilation of public housing, and the destruction of gathering places. places like the sacred Weelaunee Forest, places like the majestic meadows. That's right. So Atlantans and Philadelphians alike have been shut out of decision-making processes. We all know this so very well, including those that involve these ecocidal projects and development. And while our cities pretend to offer us seats at the table, when our people approach to sit and speak, the chairs are ripped from beneath us. Now, because profiteering land grabs rely on police and prisons, it is no coincidence that it is corporations that are eagerly bankrolling Cop City. These include AXA, here we are. AXA kills the trees. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Home Depot, Target, UPS, Chase, and so many more. The list goes on, spiraling to include the likes of Norfolk Southern, the railroad giant and perpetrator of the toxic plume that is poisoning East Palestine, Ohio. We're in the middle of a plastics boom, and railroads, the very arteries of our country, are filled with petrochemicals, destined to become everything from fossil fuels and household products to astroturfed fields like those proposed for the meadows. Meanwhile, the ghouls who own the vinyl chloride, the chemical wreaking havoc in East Palestine, go unnamed and unpunished. Which corporations fracked the original product? Who stood to rake in and hoard that wealth? Certainly not us, the people, all of us, demanding a future out of this police and industry-pocked landscape. Woo! Make no mistake, the architects of Cop City want to ensure that not if, but when their hired guns murder the George Floyds, Tyree Nichols, Tortuguitas, and defenders of the land, tomorrow they will do so with impunity and get off scot-free. That's why today, from Philly to Atlanta to East Palestine and beyond the borders of this country, we stand up and we fight back. When Weelaunee Forest is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When our sacred gathering places are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! Although the Cop City villains and their investors would have every city remade in its likeness, we know the truth here today. Cop City will never be built. 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 No to Cop City. No to Cop City. No to Cop City. No to Cop City. No Cop City anywhere. No Cop City anywhere. Protect the forest everywhere. Protect the forest everywhere. I was in there, delivered the letter, went to the lobby. Of course, there's a whole security state in there as well. You can't get in. And they refused to see me. They refused to look in the mirror and recognize the harm that they're doing to everyone. We delivered the letter. You got a flyer today that has a QR code. You scan that code, it's going to send a letter to the communications director of AXA. Load the inbox full of your voice and tell them it's wrong. No to Cop City. No to Cop City. No to Cop City. No to Cop City. Thank you for coming today. I'm going to close out by recognizing Tortuguita was lost because of the oppression. Among them are also the missing and murdered indigenous women that are uncounted, that just are not counted at all. And the lives that are lost around the world. South America, the Yanomami tribe, is being poisoned by mining, illegal mining, that's poisoning their water, adding mercury to their water, and killing their children. With that somber news, let's take a moment of silence and recognize the harm and the people lost because of this capitalistic oppressive society.
Hold on. Thank you. We have one more speaker, Cole from Save the Meadows is going to come, and then we're going to close out and disperse from here. Cole? Woo-hoo! Totally can't.
Bonjour, mes amis. First thing to say, fuck the police. Right? We would ask you all to quit your jobs and stop killing and jailing our comrades. That's right. But we know you won't fucking listen. They call us domestic terrorists, but it is them who are the real environmental terrorists. Yeah, right. Cop City will lead to more of a police state. But we ask why? Why do these so-called progressives and democratic capitalists want more fuckers with the means to harm the community? Some of those same fuckers speak of socialism, but all we see is opportunism, corruption, and death all around. Last to say is that to those who speak and favor peaceful fucking protest, when will it be enough to see that these fuckers will never be peaceful themselves? We sit and we beg for our freedom and cry for our loved ones, and it falls on deaf ears. It fell on Tortuguita, and it will fall on all of us if we don't fucking stand up. Stand up! And with that, we as anarchists cannot make demands or ask for peace. We need direct autonomous action. So in that respect, don't shut it down, y'all. Burn the shit the fuck down. Burn it down! Burn it down! Burn it down! Come on! Go to Cop City! No 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 to Cop City! Protect the forest everywhere! Protect the forest everywhere! Protect the forest everywhere! Protect the forest everywhere! Appreciate you. Appreciate your energy. Keep it going. There's the call to action down there in Atlanta, and find that on the website. You'll see that on the link. They want the bodies down there. They want the voices. They want the resistance to rise up and stop Cop City! Stop Cop City! Stop Cop City! Stop Cop City! All right, we're going to disperse. Be careful. Travel in pairs. Stay safe. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for tuning in, everyone. This is Dan at Unicorn Riot. So we've been down here in Center City. The folks have been protesting. AXA is the insurance company that's been enabling the Atlanta Police Department training project. We're going to have a landing page up on our website. You can see our coverage going back months involving the Cop City project. We've been hearing about other local struggles, such as the FDR Meadows project. It was interesting to hear in those interviews, multiple times the city of Philadelphia has made these $1 deals. More recently in Cobb's Creek, earlier the UC townhomes. There goes the bat. So there's the pattern locally, which we've been learning about from the folks that we talked to here today. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Chris, on the back end. Support our work at unicornriot.ninja. We're going to go down now, so you can take us down. And thank you very much. Did you want to say anything really quick? Or okay, we'll have to be quick. But hold on one second. We'll go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi.
Come around over here.
Anything you want me to say specifically?
You know why you're here really quick.
Yeah. So Workers' Voice is here out supporting this rally because we sided the working class in Atlanta and poor people who are resisting the Cop City campaign, and we're also in solidarity with the campaign to stop Cop City in order to save the environment. So thank you.
All right, cool. Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's great. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Again, thanks, Chris, on the back end. If you support our work, unicornriot.ninja/donate. Everybody's coming around through all directions, so I'll get out of the way. Thank you all, everybody. Have a great afternoon and a good weekend.
I don't know if it'll be like
Nice.